Welcome back, everyone. We're about to take a deep dive into the life of Billie Holiday.
Ooh, Billie Holiday.
But we're not just talking about her music. Today, we're going beyond the stage. We're going to explore her fight.
Oh, wow.
Her fight with the Federal Bureau of Narcotics.
Yeah.
And it all starts with her powerful protest song, Strange Fruit.
Okay.
So the basis for this deep dive is an episode of the podcast American Scandal.
I've heard of that one.
You've heard of that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, it lays out the story really well. And let me tell you, it's a wild one. Did you know that Holiday's stance against racial injustice, that her stance actually made her a target?
Targeted.
Yeah, of a really intense campaign.
Wow.
Orchestrated by the very top of the feds. Like the top.
That's crazy.
It's intense. So let's start, let's set the stage a little bit. We're going back to 1939, New York City.
Okay.
Billie Holiday, she's already making waves in the music scene.
Yeah.
But she premieres Strange Fruit at Cafe Society.
I've heard of that place.
Yeah, a club known for being really open to a diverse crowd. It was a pretty unique place at the time.
Yeah.
So picture this, right? This song has lyrics like, "Southern trees bear strange fruit.
Oh.
Blood on the leaves and blood at the root."
Powerful stuff.
Chills, right.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just a song. This was a full-on confrontation, a direct confrontation with lynching in the South.
Yeah, I mean, that took guts to do that back then.
Oh, totally. And to really understand how brave this was, we have to remember that between 1877 and 1950, historians estimate that something like 400,000 Black Americans were lynched.
Oh my gosh, that's a staggering number.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
It's hard to even fathom that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for Holiday,
Yeah.
it wasn't just theoretical. This wasn't some abstract issue
Yeah.
for her. The podcast, it reveals that her own father died
Oh, wow.
due to racist medical neglect in Texas. He was denied treatment for pneumonia just because of his race.
That's awful. So this was really personal for her.
Oh, yeah, totally. Talk about a driving force behind her message, right?
You can hear it in your voice.
You can hear it, yeah. So then enters Harry Anslinger, right? Head of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics.
Oh, this guy.
This guy, he gets fixated. Fixated on taking Holiday down for this song.
Wow, just for the song.
Yeah. He saw it as like, I don't know, an incitement or a threat or something. And he was determined to silence her. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
He uses a black agent named Jimmy Fletcher, to get close to her and build a case against her.
Oh, so he used like one black person to go after another one?
It's messed up, right?
It's really unsettling when you think about it.
Really unsettling. And this is where we start to see the things that made Holiday such a target. I mean, she was a renowned singer.
Right.
But she was living in poverty.
Really?
Struggling with addiction. And she had this like deep trauma from being sexually assaulted as a kid, as a 10-year-old.
Oh my gosh, she carried all that with her.
It's heavy stuff. And, when you connect it all together, her personal struggles, her powerful message,
Yeah.
and the way she was targeted, it's a pretty tragic picture. Like she was up against a system that was just completely stacked against her,
Totally.
right? So Fletcher, he starts to infiltrate her circle. He's spending time with her, going to movies with her.
Oh, wow.
He's gathering all this evidence, witnessing her drug use.
Yeah.
And it really creates this huge moral dilemma for him.
I bet.
It's like he's conflicted, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, he sets her up. He's the one who sets her up for that first raid.
I mean, what else could he do? He's working for the feds.
Well, that's the question, right? Was he just a pawn?
Mm.
Or did he have some kind of agency in what was happening?
Good question.
The podcast hints at his internal struggle, but it does play a part in her downfall, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the raid itself is just crazy. The podcast describes this scene where Holiday,
Yeah.
she basically strip searches herself right there in her apartment in front of the agents.
Wow.
It's like this act of defiance.
Oh, I see.
It's like she's saying, you want to see me vulnerable? Fine. But it'll be on my terms.
That's powerful.
It's powerful. Really powerful.
And she must have been so humiliated.
I know. It's like this moment of defiance and despair at the same time.
Yeah, I can see that.
But you know what? The raid doesn't silence her.
So she keeps singing Strange Fruit.
Oh, yeah. She keeps singing. So Anslinger, he doubles down. He takes Fletcher off the case.
Okay.
And Fletcher is like full of remorse at this point, drinking heavily,
Yeah, I bet.
wanting to apologize to her. But Anslinger just moves on, gets someone else to do his dirty work.
What a manipulator.
It's pretty messed up. And it gets worse. He then recruits Holiday's former pimp,
A pimp? Seriously?
a guy named McKay, to plant drugs on her.
I can't believe it.
And McKay, he sees it as revenge because in his eyes,
Yeah.
she's gotten too big for her britches with her fame.
Oh, so petty.
Yeah. And that's how, in 1947, Billie Holiday ends up in prison for a year on drug charges.
Wow.
Just another example of how the system worked back then, how they used drug laws
Right.
to silence anyone who dared to speak out.
Unbelievable. They really wanted to shut her down, didn't they?
Absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
just the beginning of
Oh.
this crazy story.
Wow.
It's wild.
I can't wait to hear what happens next. It's crazy how they went after her just for singing a song.
It really is. It makes you think about,
Yeah.
like, how often did this happen? How many other people were targeted just for speaking their mind?
I know. It's a disturbing thought.
It is. And the podcast actually goes deeper into that. It talks about
Really?
how this wasn't just about Billie Holiday. It was part of a bigger pattern
Oh, okay.
of the U.S. government targeting activists,
Uh,
especially during the civil rights movement.
wow. So it was like a systematic thing.
Yeah. They saw these activists as threats, like threats to national security,
Mhm.
and they weren't afraid to use all sorts of dirty tactics.
Like, what kind of tactics are we talking about here?
I mean, everything. Surveillance, intimidation, spreading lies, you name it.
That's messed up.
It's really messed up. And they were good at it, like
What?
really good at manipulating public opinion.
So they could turn people against the activists.
Exactly. Make them look like the bad guys.
It's like they were playing right into their hands.
Yeah, it's pretty scary when you
Yeah.
think about it. One of the craziest examples is what they did to Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh, wow. Even MLK.
Oh, yeah. They tapped his phones, had spies in his inner circle,
No way.
even tried to blackmail him with recordings of his personal life.
That's just wrong on so many levels.
I know, right? It's like, where do you even draw the line?
Seriously. They really wanted to take him down.
And it wasn't just King. They targeted a lot of other activists, too.
Like who?
Well, there's this guy, Fred Hampton. He was a leader of the Black Panther Party in Illinois.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, really charismatic guy. And they saw him as a major threat because he was so good at bringing people together.
Bringing people together. How is that a threat?
I guess they were afraid of what might happen if people of different races started uniting.
That's just messed up.
Yeah,
It's like they wanted to keep everyone divided.
exactly. And Hampton's story ends really tragically.
What happened?
He was assassinated in his own apartment during a police raid.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And a lot of people believe that the FBI was behind it.
So they basically had him killed.
It's definitely suspicious. They used information from an informant to justify the raid.
So they were manipulating things behind the scenes.
It's really messed up. And it makes you think, how many other activists were silenced or eliminated just because they were fighting for what they believed in?
It's scary to think about. It's like, how can we even trust the government after hearing stories like this?
That's a good question. It makes you realize that power can be really dangerous when it's in the wrong hands.
And that we need to be aware of what's going on.
Exactly. We can't just blindly trust the people in charge.
Yeah.
We need to be critical thinkers and question the narratives that are being presented to us.
I agree. We have to be vigilant and stand up for what we believe in, even when it's hard.
And Billie Holiday's story is a reminder that one voice can make a difference.
Yeah, she risked everything to sing that song.
And it sparked a movement. It inspired people to fight for justice.
And it's still relevant today. Like, we're still fighting for racial justice all these years later.
It's sad, but it's true. Her song is a reminder that the fight is far from over.
And that we can't give up. We have to keep pushing for change.
Absolutely. We all have a role to play in creating a more just and equitable world. And Billie Holiday showed us that even when the odds are stacked against you, you can still make a difference.
Her story is a powerful reminder of that.
It really is. So what do you think? How does all this change the way we see the world?
It makes me realize that things aren't always what they seem, and that we have to be careful about who we trust, especially when it comes to people in power.
I agree. We have to be critical thinkers and question everything.
Hmm?
And we have to be willing to fight for what we believe in, even when it's scary.
Because in the end, the fight for justice is worth it.
That's a great way to put it. So we've talked a lot about the dark side of this story.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that Billie Holiday was so much more than just a victim of government persecution.
Right. She was an amazing artist.
A musical genius.
Absolutely. Her voice was incredible.
And she achieved all of this while dealing with so much pain and pressure.
It's really incredible when you think about it.
The podcast plays a clip of Strange Fruit, and it's just chilling.
Oh,
You can hear
yeah.
everything in her voice, the pain, the anger, the defiance.
It's a powerful song.
It's like she's channeling the grief and outrage of generations.
And it's still relevant today. It's like she's speaking directly to us.
It's timeless. And you mentioned you're a music enthusiast.
Yeah.
When you listen to Strange Fruit today, what are the things that stand out to you? What makes it so powerful?
That's a good question. I think it's the rawness of her voice, the way she conveys so much emotion with just a few notes.
Yeah, her phrasing is amazing.
It's like she's telling a story with every breath. And the lyrics are so powerful, so haunting.
It paints such a vivid picture.
It's a song you can't forget. It stays with you long after you've heard it.
And it paved the way for so many other protest songs.
Oh, yeah, totally. It showed that music could be a weapon against injustice.
And it's still inspiring artists today.
It's amazing how much impact one song can have.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, what if Billie Holiday had been given the support and resources she needed to overcome her struggles?
Yeah, what if she had been able to focus all of her energy on her music?
It's a heartbreaking thought.
It is. But even with everything she went through, she left behind an incredible legacy.
Her music continues to inspire and challenge us.
And her story reminds us to never give up the fight for justice.
Absolutely. So where do we go from here? We've explored Billie Holiday's fight against the feds, and we've seen how her story is part of a bigger pattern of government overreach and the targeting of activists.
It's been a heavy conversation.
It has. But I think there's a lot we can learn from it.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, it reminds us that the fight for justice is never over.
Right. It's a constant struggle.
And we can't take our rights and freedoms for granted.
We have to be vigilant and stand up for what we believe in.
Exactly. And Billie Holiday's story shows us that even one voice can make a difference.
Even when you're up against a powerful system.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It is. Gives me hope.
Me too. So remember that thought-provoking question I mentioned?
The one about Billie Holiday and her struggles.
Yeah. What if she had been given the support she needed? Could she have accomplished even greater things?
That's a tough one. It's hard to say.
It is. But it's something to think about.
It is.
And it makes you realize how important it is to support those who are struggling.
And to fight for a world where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Exactly. And, speaking of music, I know you're a music enthusiast. When you listen to Strange Fruit today, what elements of the song contribute to its enduring power? How has it influenced other protest music?
Well, it's the rawness, the vulnerability in her voice. That just gets me every time. You can hear the pain, like she's carrying this weight of the story.
Right.
And musically, it's deceptively simple, I think,
Yeah.
but that makes it even more powerful.
I agree.
The tempo is slow, the minor key, the way the melody kind of hangs there. It creates this haunting beauty.
It does, yes.
It draws you in, and then there are the lyrics.
Yeah.
So stark, so unflinching about racial violence.
It's like a punch in the gut.
You can't ignore them.
You can't.
And you know what? I think Strange Fruit really set a precedent for protest music.
In what way?
Because it showed that a song could be art and a call to action at the same time.
It's both.
It paved the way for so many artists to challenge injustice and to inspire change through music.
Right.
It's amazing.
It's a powerful legacy. And it makes you think about all the things she could have done
Yeah.
if she hadn't had all these struggles. If she'd had more support.
It's sad that.
It is. It's sad.
Yeah.
She had so much talent, so much to give.
But even with all the challenges, she left a huge mark
Yeah.
on music and on the fight for social justice.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
Her story shows us that even when things are hard, even when it seems impossible, one voice can make a difference.
Absolutely.
And that's something I want everyone listening to take away from this deep dive. The fight for equality.
Yeah.
It's been going on for so long.
Forever.
And it's not over.
Not even close.
It's a fight worth having, and we all have a part to play.
We do.
We have to speak out against injustice.
Wherever we see it.
We have to support those who are marginalized, who are oppressed.
Absolutely.
And we can't forget how powerful music is, how it can move us, challenge us.
And bring us together.
Exactly. That's how we keep Billie Holiday's spirit alive.
By fighting for what's right.
By using our voices.
Yes.
And remember, the fight takes many forms. It could be a song, a protest, a conversation, a vote.
Or just taking a moment to think.
The important thing is to never stay silent. Never stay silent when you see injustice.
That's so important.
That's all for this deep dive into the life and legacy of Billie Holiday.
Wow, what a story.
We've explored her music, her activism, her battle with the feds.
It's heartbreaking, but inspiring too.
It really is. And I hope it's given you all some things to think about.
To reflect on.
As always, we encourage you to keep exploring.
Yeah, keep learning.
Keep questioning and keep raising your voice.
Never be afraid to speak out.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep raising your voice.